Hi guys, it's Shadow Boy here. So I wanted to do a video today in response to a movement that's been occurring, which is Be the Witchy Change, and it's something that I've seen a mass surge of on my YouTube. And first of all, I just want to say I think it's fantastic that people are doing this because I think it's about time that we tackled bullying within the community because it's something that does happen on a very regular occurrence, unfortunately. And so I'm very happy that people are actively doing things to change this or doing things to try to change this. And unfortunately, I have this thing where I'm a little bit of a dick in the fact that if everybody is doing something, I want to do something different. So if everybody's doing something, I'm like, no, I'm not doing it because I want to be different. And it's always been like that. And it's not just within witchy stuff, it's within everything. And sometimes it can be really, really handy and get me out of a lot of sticky situations. And sometimes it can just be a bit fucking awkward. I don't know why I do it. I don't think there's anything wrong with following a crowd or doing a particular thing, but I like to be different, and for some reason it's a thing I need to deal with. I don't know. I've always been like it. I don't like the idea of following the same thing as everybody else. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So I just kind of wanted to say that. So I guess this is kind of my Be the Witchy Change video without an actual Be the Witchy Change thing going on. But I did want to do this video because I wanted to talk about it because within my life, in regards to the pagan community, I remember when I first when I first got fucking chucked in to the pagan community, I realised very much so that there was a lot of attacking. And before I start this video, I do want to say I think it's very important that people realise that there is a difference between constructive criticism and attack, okay? And I feel very much so that there is absolutely nothing wrong with pulling somebody up if they give wrong historical information. It's happened with myself on my channel. People have said, well, actually, you've said this, but this is what I've found, rah, rah, rah. And I think it's very good. And I actively encourage people to do that because I feel like I look up my videos before I do a video and I know it's going to go online. I feel like nowadays I put everything into my videos. There are some videos I watched in the past and I cringe and I'm like, well, actually, that's not true. And I will be redoing those videos because I don't think it's justified that those videos be out and people think they're right. And I think it's very important to have that, to be humble, to be like, well, actually, I remember what I put out and I'm going to rewatch this. And if you rewatch it and you're like, oh, actually, no, that's wrong. I think it's important to admit that because you do get a lot of egos in the fact that people are blind and deaf with ego and the fact that they're like, no, it's right. And, you know, when people can be so blind and deaf with their own ego that they don't want to, you know, they don't like the idea of that. And I think if you have a problem with someone being constructively critical to you, you have a problem with yourself and you can't deal with certain things. And I think that's very important to point out. If there's a video or there's a blog that's going around with historical information and somebody's twisting it and saying all this kind of stuff about a particular spirit or deity or a particular practice of witchcraft and it's not true, then it's important to flag that. But in a constructive way. You don't do that in a shitty way or in an egotistical way. You do it in a humble way, in a nice way. You know, you talk to people how you want to be treated. So I think people need to know the difference. There's constructive criticism and then there's attack. And I think because of the things I've been through in the past, very much so I used to be in a position where I used to get constructive criticism mixed up with the attack. And I used to think, why is this happening? Blah, blah, blah. But I do want to say that I have been firsthand in regards to bullying within the pagan community and I've unfortunately experienced that. And I've experienced that on a really fucking nasty bitter level. In the fact that I've been in people's houses before where people were literally just going at me for my personal practice. I was a lot young, but you know, I've been in situations where people have been fucking nasty and to the point where people have reduced me to tears, you know, where I was young and I was only young and I was torn to bits and it was fucking awful. It was disgusting and quite frankly, I think anybody who I would never want anybody to go through that. And I think there's a difference, as I said, in being constructive and then in being plain fucking nasty. And I think that's a huge difference. And I wouldn't want, thankfully now my skin's tough. It's like an old boot. Now the amount of times I've taken a beating, that sounds weird, but the amount of times I've taken a beating from the pagan community, or people that are like, not necessarily the pagan community, but from people that want to humiliate people. And I think very much so you see this. There can never be one reason why a person attacks you. People are a huge spectrum of colour. You can't just say, oh, it's because they're jealous. You can't. Because people are so varied. People are so fucking complicated and so complex. You can't just say this is why everyone will attack you. But I'm going to label a couple of the reasons that I have found why people attack you. So number one, it could be because the reason there are some people that want to, what I like to call, publicly fuck somebody up the ass. And it's the best way, I think. And by that, I feel that means publicly demean someone, to make everybody see that person get burnt, basically, and to be the person that burns that. And I've been in so many situations where that has happened. So many. And fucking nasty situations. Quite frankly, I can't explain the venom I've experienced. But I think, people do that. And I think people do that because it's almost as a bit of a way that it's become in the occult to become a bit of a dick waving competition. And the fact that it's kind of like mine's bigger than yours and I'm going to show everybody, and it's, in a way, it's very egotistical because the person is trying to demean somebody in public in order to make themselves feel better. But what you have to ask is, why is this person doing this? Why does this person why is this person going so out their way to publicly make this person look demeaned, or to publicly make this person look diminished? And there is a reason to that. And it obviously shows a great deal of insecurity if this person wants to prove to somebody, wants to prove to everybody, almost prove to the rest of the world, that they are going to burn this person, that their opinion is the one that is right, and they are the person that is right, and they're going to publicly fuck somebody in the ass. And it's almost like a dick waving competition in the way that they're trying to prove how better they are to somebody else. And I think that's one of the things that's happened that you get a lot of. And I've reached a point in my practice where when I was a teenager, I used to get passionate, heated. I used to be like, no. Even a couple of years back, I used to get so passionate. But now if somebody actively does situations to do this to me, most of the time I'm like, yeah, okay, you're right, whatever. Because I don't care. I don't care anymore. Why should I, if I'm trying to talk to somebody about a piece of history that somebody is point blankly not accepting, or if somebody is trying to argue for argue's sake for the purpose of their own personal ego in order to look better in front of everybody else because they feel that they deep down have to prove something to themselves in front of everybody, I don't care. Why should I become engulfed in somebody's insecurity? Why should I let somebody's insecurity affect me so much that it radiates into my life, that it ripples out into my existence? I've got better things to do with my shit, I've got better shit to do with my time than to frantically worry about what somebody's opinion is of me. If people like me, they like me. If they don't like me, they don't like me. But thankfully, I feel secure enough within myself. If someone's going, giving me wrong information and going, no, you're wrong because blah, 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 and I know for a fact it's wrong, I'm like, okay, you're right, that's fine. Because what is the point? If that person is being so blind that they're not having any information and they're not accepting facts, then what am I going to do? What is anybody going to do? It's something they have to learn upon their own, you know. And I used to get so heated about it that I didn't want to be humiliated because I had such a fear, because I had such a fucking awful time being humiliated by other people. So yeah, I just wanted to do this video. And I'm a great believer in the fact that those who flaunt their power have no power. And I think if somebody is trying to demean you publicly, then somebody is trying to prove something to themselves. Somebody's trying to appear like they're a better person. And as I said before, you need to ask why. And that can be, people, as I said, people complex. It can be on so many different levels and so many different ways. But, you know, a lot of the time I find it's because of insecurity, whether it stemmed from magical practice, whether it stemmed from how they feel about themselves. It stems from their own insecurity. It stems from their own misery. And why should I allow myself to become engulfed in somebody else's misery? Fuck that. You know, I've got better shit to do. You know, I want to go out into woods and, you know, conjure. I want to go to festivals and, you know, live my life. I want to go out partying. I want to socialize with friends. I want to, you know, I want to do more research. I want to go foraging in the forest. I want to do all this stuff. I don't want, you know, I have one life. Why should you waste your time on a troll? Why should you waste your time on somebody that is trying to demean you? There's no point. Just let it go. Let them have it. Let them have it, because they're going to end up, they will get to a point in their life where they feel that through their own bitterness, through their own vileness, they can't move forward, they can't move anywhere with their life. And it's almost as if people like that shoot themselves in the foot. Now, I think it's very important in regards to this, as I said, that fine line between constructive criticism and attack. And I think that's very, very important. And I think it's, you know, it's one of the things you have to kind of look into and think, you know, differentiate between those two. But yeah, I think it's fantastic that people are trying to make a change within the community and trying to make a difference within the community, because I think it's something that's important. It's something that has to be done, because there's a huge problem. Because among the occult scene, there is a huge, what I like to call, dick waving contest. Mine's bigger than yours. I don't fucking care. You know, although I'm young, I feel like I'm too old to even embark in shit like that. I'm too beyond getting involved in stuff like that. Not too beyond spiritually, nothing like that, but I'm fucking done with it. You know, I've reached a point in my existence where I just don't care anymore. I don't care about someone else's opinion, if it's a negative opinion of me. I don't care if somebody likes me. I don't care if somebody doesn't like me. Now, that's not to say with my videos that I'm thankful for what people have done, and I do care about, you know, people that like my videos and subscribe and comment and give me all the support, because it really is lovely, and it shows from a negative perspective of what I've seen of the pagan community to the lovely messages I get from people now. It means a lot to me. But what I meant was, in general, I don't care if someone doesn't like me. I don't care. What is that going to add to my existence? What is that going to add to my life? It's not. And quite frankly, I'd rather go out and practice witchcraft than sit arguing with a screen about witchcraft. I'd rather go and actively do it. You know, I want dancing around madly in a stone circle at night. You know, full moon's coming up. I'm not going to be arguing with someone who's from like Kentucky who thinks that I'm a, you know, tool or something like that. Like, why? What's that a use of my time? So yeah, just bear that in mind, guys. Like, you have one life, and just think, you know what, if you're serious about your practice and you're serious about things, then I think you'll get to a point where, with arguing online and bickering, particularly online, but with arguing and bickering, it's like, well, you know what, I'd rather spend my time constructively. I'd rather spend my time perhaps debating with people. Now, a debate, that's good. A debate is interesting. A debate gets the mind going, you know. me and my best friend are very, very different viewpoints on the craft. Very different viewpoints, and we will sit all night, with about 3 bottles of Lambrini. We're cheap girls. We'll sit there and we will debate until the sun comes up, and we have completely different viewpoints, but it's interesting. Be receptive, be open to other people, but know the line between somebody being nice and then somebody being a dick. And I think sometimes people have that mixed up. Some people, if someone gives you constructive criticism, you can be like, is she throwing shade? So just be wary of that. But yeah, this is my video, and it's on that situation. And to be honest, before the tag, not that I'm like trying to be different from everyone else. God, I really need to get over that weird thing I do. But before the tag, I was thinking of doing this video, so it's kind of endorsed it to come up. But yeah, I just want to say, like, before I go, like, I appreciate so much all the support I get from my videos that I post, and so lovely. Another thing I want to add as well, before I go, is that everybody gets it. Everybody gets that bullying. Everybody gets that very negative, not criticism, but you know what I mean, negative remarks. Even your favourite author in the world will get slated down by somebody else. Even a witch who you have high respect for will be slated down by someone else. So what's the point in worrying? What's the point of worrying of what these people think? Just do your own thing. Do your research, know your research, and go and do your own thing. Go and talk to your spirits, Don't sit behind a fucking screen arguing with someone who you're never going to meet the rest of your life, who you're never even going to know the day that they die, who you're going to forget in about 3 weeks' time. Don't spend all night in arguing. Go out into the woods, go and forage, go and dance wildly, get infused with flying ointment or something. Go and, only if you know what you're doing with the flying ointment bit. But my point is, go out and practice, don't argue. Don't argue behind a screen. You're a witch. Go fucking witch. Don't argue with someone you're never going to meet, who you're never ever going to know. You're never going to know when this person's going to fucking die. What's the point? Can tell I'm approaching 30 now, but honestly, it's how I feel about the world and things, and I feel fucking cleansed. But it needs to be said. I've gone on a rant. I knew it would be a rant, but whatever. Peace, over and out.